Previously, on a very special episode of Tomb Raider.
You never have to be cold, my Lara, if you don't want to be. No, get back!
What's happening, Mother?
Lord, what is it? Oh God, no!
Mother? Mother!
Lara Croft, meet Jacqueline Natalie.
It was you. You were the Queen of Atlantis. Once. I cannot die, you fool!
I think this stone unlocks the door.
The door might be trapped.
We're trapped. Amanda!
I think Amanda might not have died down
You idiot! You ruined everything!
Makes sense right this second, or I swear I'll execute you where you stand!
I told you!
Where is my mother?
Avalon! She's not dead!
Tonight, on a very special Tomb Raider.
Way back in the 1980s, secret government employees dug up famous guys and ladies and made up using genetic copies. Now they're prone to sexy teens. Now they're gonna make it if they try. Loving, learning, sharing, judging. Time to laugh and shiver and cry. Don't hide, don't hide.
Brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, this is CubaLibre, and I'm coming at you after a long break with some Tomb Raider Underworld. Gonna be playing on the medium difficulty, because who cares? And that's the Croft Manor exploding. I guess no awesome Croft Manor bonus level this time. Although I guess you could explore it as a ruin, you know, like it could be its own tomb of an ancient civilization, i.e. rich British people. Whatever. So this is obviously one of them in media res beginnings to games where you start in the middle of a later chapter, but it's set up like a little tutorial to teach you the controls. It's a very pretty game. Prettier than the earlier ones, I guess that makes sense as time goes on. Aside from her ponytail physics, not exactly flawless, but and the hands blocking the heat thing. Anyways, I hate these kind of sequences in games. It's a spoiler of the story for no reason. Plus, it's always easy because it's a tutorial level. But then when you come back and have to inevitably replay it, you're way more experienced at the game than like tutorial style. Than tutorial level difficulty, lowest possible difficulty. So it's just really boring to run through. A, because you've already done it. B, because it's easy compared to things you were just doing. Probably the level before, whatever. I should note that I am playing this game on a controller. And I'm not used to that on a PC games, so it might account for some. The game is also pretty wonky in terms of its controls. We'll talk more about that later. My previous Let's Plays of Tomb Raider Legend and Tomb Raider Anniversary, I played with mouse and keyboard, because at the time I did not have a controller that worked well. The PC, all I have is PlayStation, so the only analog controller I have is a DualShock 3, and there's no official drivers for that for the PC. So you can see we can do cool melee moves. One vase breakable, other vase not breakable. Whatever. But when I got Dark Souls for PC, I decided to try out Motion Enjoy again. I had tried out Motion. These are the unofficial fan-made drivers for PS3 controllers. Turns out I tried them about a year and a half or 2 years ago, and they were hard to use, and they didn't work very well. Now they are fantastic, and they work perfectly. Plus, you can make a spoof as a 360 controller. So since 360 controllers, this kind of default controller for all PC games that use pads, probably because Microsoft runs Windows, you could make games think your DualShock is an Xbox 360 controller. Pretty nice.
Look out! It's long. I know.
Ooh, little trouble on the home front there. Looks like Lara and Zip had a little falling out. Plot-wise, this game is a direct sequel to Tomb Raider Legend, which is the canonically latest game before this one, because Anniversary, of course, is a remake of the first game. So that means your stupid talking head friend characters are back. But Toby Gard is back on this project, the original creator of Tomb Raider. And I'll talk about the implications of that in a minute.
Hey, Lara. Find it yet?
Patience, Zip. I warned you that conveniently undiscovered islands would be scarce in the Mediterranean.
Are you sure this Eddington chap knows what he's talking about?
If he says father was convinced the path to Avalon was here, I have no reason to doubt it.
Fair enough. But it's... well, we've been talking...
You've been talking, man.
Leon, it's just... Alright, maybe Avalon is real, but just because some bad woman tells you your mother didn't die after all. I mean, look, I don't want to seem heartless, but this idea of your mum living in some Celtic underworld, it's a little bit mental, isn't it?
I have no illusions that my mother is holding court in some mythical paradise, Alistair. I only want the truth, whatever it may be. I'll ring you later.
Now this is what I call a start to a Tomb Raider game. A boat floating in the middle of a vast and endless ocean. Infinite possibilities of exploration suggested. When I saw this, I was like, yes, this is a good start. Who knows where it'll go from here, but it's a good start. Full 360-degree underwater control. Just a big, empty ocean space that you can swim around in. Unfortunately, invisible walls. So, immediately my initial goodwill was slightly damaged. But I guess what else are you gonna do? Except have something stupid like a shark that automatically eats you or something. Here's our PDA menu. This little map I never use. Once again, we have lots of random treasures to pick up. That's making a comeback from Legend. I like Anniversaries much better when there was just like 4 or 5 secret things in a level and that's it. And they were each hidden in a cool place. Instead, you have one relic in each area, not in each level, but in each sort of like geographical area, which is like a cool hidden thing. And then a whole bunch of just random treasures, many of which are just strewn about. It's kind of annoying. So I do make an effort to get all the relics because they're interesting. Don't give a shit about all the treasures. I mean, I get all the ones I can, but I'm not going to get them all, and I don't care if I miss one in a random pot or whatever. So, as I was saying, Toby Gard is back on this project. That means a couple things. One, the writing is relatively better. He has to deal with a lot of fallout from Legend's bullshit story. So your annoying talking head, goofy brat stalls friends are back. But they really only talk to you in cutscenes. During the level, they don't bother you all the time. They don't make stupid quips. Lara doesn't make stupid quips. All those things are much better than Legend. Lara's outfits are reasonable. Now, they start you out in a little ass-exposing wetsuit, but they at least give you the option of clothes later, and you can pick things that aren't stupid. That makes me feel good. The game is much more explorable in general. There are exceptions, which are terrible. We'll talk about that later when it comes up. This is a great example. This is a perfect opening level. Just a big, huge area of ruins to swim around in and explore. I mean, obviously, that central place is the main place that you're supposed to go, the big central tower. But there's lots of other places you can check too. It took me a while to realize this is like a drowned city. That must be obvious. But the buildings have floor plans like, you know, land buildings. This is not meant to be an underwater town. That must be utterly obvious, but I guess I'm just an idiot. So you can see these little collapsed doorways that go into the buildings. And here's our first treasure. This is what every treasure looks like. It's a little, like, looks like a D8. Do the jellyfish hurt you? The answer is yes. Well, so now I know. Can't kill them. They're like obstacles. The treasures are these little D8 shiny things with glyphs on them. They're always the same. I guess they're supposed to be like these Viking artifacts, because as you'll see, the game is all about finding these Viking ruins underneath other slightly newer ruins. A lot of them are in these just random pots that are strewn about. It's really annoying. But for now, I am loving the explorability of this place. Of course, all there is to find is treasures, really. Not a whole lot of items in this game. Unlike the original couple Tomb Raiders, you don't find weapons and ammo. I think that makes sense. I also thought it was weird. Lara, the millionaire, has to find a shotgun like hidden deep in fucking ancient Egyptian ruins. That doesn't make any sense. So you start with all your weapons and max ammo for all of them. Cut out a bunch of exploring I did. So that's nice, I guess. It sort of removes some incentive for exploring, though. All you can find is treasures and health packs, basically. But for now, let's look at the main puzzle of this opening area. Qu'est-ce que c'est? I have a thingy. Let's put the thingy in the thingy. Now.
Something seems to be missing from the center of each of those discs. I should try putting the axle from the pedestal into one of the discs.
So the game has a hint system inside the game. There's kind of like a small hint and then a basically tell you what to do hint. I never use it again after I find out what it is. As you can see, there's 3 kind of circle symbols and then a bunch of dash symbols. I instantly am like, alright, you probably have to put the 3 circle symbols in the middle circle. First I try the dashes, that doesn't work. Then I realize, oh. 3 circles, 4 dashes. Probably need to link up the circles. However, we seem to be missing a plunger lever thing, whatever that is. So, after a bit of mucking around, I realize I need to go find another one. Which must be somewhere. Now, I don't know if you saw when I was by the wall, Laura did this little, like, flippy, freaky out thing where she was jiggering back and forth. This game has a lot of animation problems. It's basically a product of the fact that they're trying to make these very lifelike and fluid animations, but they don't account for the fact that you can just like flip the analog stick around at will. I don't know that there is an ideal solution to that problem, but it ends up making you look really stupid. And you'll see more examples of that later. So there's these two main big buildings out front of the giant tower, which I didn't even go in because I'm an old school explorer type, and I always explore all the less obvious stuff first and then the more obvious stuff second. It's kind of frustrating, I guess, for the viewer, but yeah, whatever. At any rate, one of these big houses has another treasure. The other has the last lever thingy for the big rock door. So let's go. Aha, a hole. Look for the holes. And we find our treasure. Now that I'm swimming around aimlessly, I'll go back to something I was talking about before. I'm using a pad, a DualShock 3 to play this game. My general philosophy on control pad versus keyboard and mouse is analog for movement, mouse for aiming. That's pretty much what it comes down to. If a game is more about its movement, analog movement is much finer and more controllable and more fun than digital movement on 8-way movement on a keyboard, the WASD. On the other hand, if you need to aim quickly and accurately, a mouse is a extremely efficient aiming tool. Pushing around that fucking little lollipop thumbstick to try to move a crosshair is a completely maddening experience. I still suck at it. It's no good. So, for console-y platformy games, I would prefer to use a controller for the analog control. I probably would have preferred to use a controller in my Legend Anniversary Let's Plays, but I didn't. But because of the aforementioned sort of animation, etc. problems, the analog controls aren't always as smooth as one would hope. So I just gotta put these all together, and that'll let us in by the hairs of my chinny chin chin. Please note that while the animations for, say, like the door opening are canned, they are real time. It's not pure cutscene. Like the game focuses and has a slight cutscene as the door opens, but it actually returns control to me while the thing is still moving. This is a very, very tiny detail, but I think it adds a lot to your immersion. Holy shit. Make a little loop-de-loop there. Nah, seems to be gone. I'm sure it was nothing. And you can see Lara is wearing a rebreather, which is why there's no air bar or anything. I have infinite air. Shake yourself off. And now we're on land for the first time. Now I don't need a spear gun, so I'll just equip my shotgun. This is how you equip the different weapons. It's kind of cumbersome, but whatever. Oh, these pots. These fucking pots. Initially I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. They're just some random ceramic pottery hanging out, and there happens to be a treasure in one. You actually get something for opening them up. Yeah, get used to that, because this game loves just scattering pots everywhere and putting fucking treasures in them. If you had a keen eye, you may have noticed that the empty pots were of one design, and then the pot that actually had the treasure inside of it was a little fancier looking type design. As far as I've played so far, and I'm probably at 3/4 through the game at the time of recording this, that never changes. So you'll have a bunch of useless pots that have nothing in them. But I always break all of them because of my OCD. Because, I don't know, the one time I don't check, it's going to be in there. And, so I keep doing it. I don't know, I guess I'm just an idiot. Checking to see if that thing I picked up was the relic. It would feel like it'd be dumb because it was right there. Turns out the answer to that is no. It's actually a cup with some red liquid in it. It's actually a health pack. So when you're in a modern environment, health packs will be like health packs, first aid kits with crosses on them, and whatever. When you're in an ancient environment, health packs will be like these cups of thousands-year-old ointment healing liquid. It doesn't seem very trustworthy, but you know, whatever. I guess it's better to have a slightly diegetic health pack than like medical kits lying around Egyptian tombs. I don't know, there's no real good solution to that, except to just have Laura bring all the med kits with her and have a limited amount for the level, like she does with the ammo. I don't know why you wouldn't do that, but you know, what do I know? So here we go. One of the planar pots, ain't nothing. Fancy pot, treasure. Already I'm like, okay, that's number 2. Maybe that's just this level. They have pots, and other levels will have other things. No, always pots. Every level. Honestly, do not know why these things are here, but that goes to one of the good things about this game. More red herrings, more dead ends. This is exactly what I was asking for in my post-mortem videos of the other 2 Tomb Raider games in the Croft Manor. Not every single platforming element being a direct line to get to the next area. These are just here because they're here. And you can also jump to your death quite easily in this game. Fall damage is a real deal in this. Note, pot's not there. It saves when you break your pots. Thank God. So you don't have to re-get the treasures. As soon as you get them, it saves the fact that you've gotten them. Anyways. So there are more dead ends in this game. And, just crumbly things that lead nowhere in particular. And it does make the experience of exploring much better. I really think this game is the exploratory levels in this game at their best are really at least on par with Anniversary, if not actually better, which would make this basically the best exploration game, except maybe the unadulterated first game. Although I think Anniversary got that pretty good. In a way, it's a return to form, but only sometimes. And it's also, but the problem is it's laden with all this frustrating shit. But we'll get there. Grapple makes a return. It's a nice way to solve some games, some puzzles. The game also introduces a weight mechanic. So as you'll see, heavy blocks go on pressure plate to open pressure plate. Obviously this is kind of a tutorial, it's not that complicated, but they make a little hay out of this later because you can throw the blocks. So sometimes you just stand on a thing while you throw the block through a thing, you know. That's about as complicated as it gets though. Anyway, let's watch our fancy little cutscene here.
Similar to early Germanic design, but this is far older than the 5th century, yet, strangely enough, more sophisticated. Proto-Norse runes. Let's see. World of Mist. That would be Niflheim, the realm of the dead. Not Avalon exactly, but the Norse equivalent.
And that's the first couple steps on our quest for Avalon. I'm CubaLibre, and I'll see you next mission.